Ava, I heard you bought a house. Is it a detached house? I've been missing you, mother-in-law. Yes, it's a second-hand one. But it seems to be a big detached house, doesn't it? How nice. I'm jealous of your apparently good life. That's not true. It was old and run down, so I could buy it cheaper than the market price. And it's big just because it's a countryside house. But you renovated it and made it beautiful, didn't you? These days, renovating your own house is trendy. I've seen it on TV and videos. Well, yeah, that's true. So, when are you moving? Next month. Oh, that's soon. You should have told me. I was planning to report it at some point. I'm sorry it's late. My son is not good at communication. Unless I contact him, he doesn't call or text. I wonder if he's still holding on to the past. Are you talking about the story that you guys used his scholarship money a long time ago? Oh, you've heard about it. Used the scholarship money in gambling. Right. My husband squandered it on horse racing. Because of that, he became a struggling student. I heard he had to work part-time a lot. But most of his part-time job money was taken by his father. Life was hard at that time. I had no choice but to use my son's part-time job money to repay the debt. I feel bad for my son, but I guess it can't be helped. We're a family, we have to help each other. But he ended up bearing the repayment of the scholarship money you squandered in gambling, right? Yes. Originally, the person who received the scholarship should repay it. Even if we say squandered it, it wasn't the full amount. It's also true that we used it for his tuition. It's only natural for him to repay it. I feel like my husband's burden is too great. But he's working for a good company now, isn't he? And he has the financial power to buy a detached house. Repaying the scholarship wouldn't be a big deal, and my son agreed to it. Is that so? Well, who cares about that anymore? I contacted you because I have something important to talk about. Something important? Yes. We've decided to live with you. See you next month. Excuse me? You mean live together? Yes. It seems you've bought a very large house. It's too big for two people to live in it. We also wanted to live in a detached house with a garden, so we thought it would be just right. Please wait a moment. It's hard for me to respond to such a sudden proposal. You haven't talked to my husband about this, have you? It'll be fine with my son. He'll definitely agree. He's always been a good listener. But that's a problem. We have our own circumstances too. What circumstances? My husband was recently diagnosed with a disease. Cancer. Cancer? This happened right before we're about to move. We're still shocked. My husband will have a tough fight with the disease from now on, so we don't have the luxury to think about living together. No, if that's the case, it's even more perfect. I can help with nursing care. So let's live together. No, I can do it by myself. Anyway, we don't have the luxury to live together. What are you talking about? It's hard to take care of him and do housework all by yourself, isn't it? What if you get sick too? If there were more people doing the housework, it'll be easier for you. You can focus on my son's treatment. That might be the case, but... Right? Leave it to me. Let's live happily together. Mother-in-law? What is this terrible state of the house? I was away for just one day and it's like a garbage dump. Welcome back. If you're back, please clean up. The kitchen smells. Please do some of it yourself. And please don't let my husband drive. Now is the time when he's feeling the worst from the side effects. But it was raining, so it can't be helped. We can't go anywhere without a car in such a rural area. Even so, please don't treat a sick person like a driver. What would you do if something happened to my husband? Ugh, you're so annoying. If you're going to say that much, you should pick up and drop off. Where are you going? You're not working. I'm going to town. There's nothing around here but mountains and rice fields. I'll go senile if I stay in a place like this for long. It's because you're not at home that I'm asking my son to drive me around. I have a job. As you can see, my husband isn't in a condition to work properly, so I have to work for two. Well, thank you for your hard work. By the way, I'm out of money. Next time, please give me about $500. What? You've already used it up? I just gave it to you 3 days ago. That was gone in a blink. It was quickly lost in gambling. Does my father-in-law go gambling too? I wonder, isn't he out drinking somewhere? I haven't seen his face for 3 days. I wonder where he's wandering off to. I hate to say this, but both you and my father-in-law spend too much money. Since we're living together, can't you consider the household a little more? What? You don't like it? If you won't give it to me, I'll ask my son. I'm sure he'll go to the bank or ATM for us. Please don't try to move my bedridden husband. I'll pay the money. Then could you please give each of us $500? So, a total of $1,000? I can't do that. Please bear with half. Don't be stingy. You can afford that much, right? There's a limit to what I can do. Then why don't you let my son retire early? Then he would get a severance pay. My husband loves his current job. He's working hard on his treatment with the goal of returning to work. If he's forced to retire, he may lose his motivation to fight the disease. Please don't say whatever you want. But he won't be able to work again, will he? It's a nuisance to the other employees. He should just quit. Please don't say such things. Neither I nor my husband have given up. I believe that my husband will definitely return to work. It's nice to be young. Life isn't sweet enough to open the way with a believing heart. Ava, I'm going to have a drink before I go home, so I won't need dinner tonight. I see. I can't come to pick you up. Please call a taxi and come back on your own. What are you talking about? You have time because you're off from work. I'm busy. The funeral for my husband is over, but there are still many things to do. Speaking of which, there were a lot of attendees at the funeral. I was surprised that our son had so many acquaintances. He was a shy child. My husband was well liked by everyone. He was a kind person. I think it was his virtue. I really think he was a good man. It's just a shame he didn't live longer. Yes. Anyway, now that the funeral is over, I have to tidy up my son's belongings. You can leave that for now. We'll think about that after the 49 days period. You don't need to wait that long. I want to clean up the room where our son had been bedridden. I want to turn that room into my hobby room. We're not tidying up the room yet. Since it's not used anymore, it should be fine. Besides, it's not your decision to make. I'll think about the future. Others should leave already. What do you mean? Just what it sounds like. My son's not here anymore, so you're a stranger now. You're asking me to leave? Because we're not related by blood. There's no need to live together anymore. The house is my son's memento, so we'll take it. Please leave. I see. Indeed, strangers should leave. Then I'll prepare for the move immediately. That's helpful of you. Then hurry up. Understood. And it seems better to be sooner. Please leave the house by tomorrow. What? What do you mean, please leave? It sounds like you're kicking us out. The one who's leaving is you. No, the ones who should leave this house are you, my mother-in-law and father-in-law. What are you talking about? My son bought this house. We, his parents, will take it. Are you saying that to provoke me? Or are you serious? The primary heir is the spouse, which is me. I'm the owner of this house. If I say you should leave, you should leave. My son would never allow that. He acknowledged that we live here. My husband is no longer here. In other words, there's no one to spoil you anymore. From now on, you will follow my intentions regarding this house. You, as a daughter-in-law, can't you listen to your mother-in-law? Don't you dare talk back to me. I'm different from my husband. I'm not obedient to you. You've been listening well until now. Why are you resisting now? The reason I was obedient until now was for my husband. If I clashed with you, wouldn't it put a strain on my husband? Stress is not good for the body, so I was just enduring it for him. Don't you intend to carry on the will of your deceased husband? Not at all. Leave immediately, or else I'll take legal measures. Legal measures? It means to make clear who has the right to this house. Then you wouldn't be able to interfere. Wait, you don't have to go that far. If you don't like it, please leave quickly. If you resist, I'll resort to legal measures immediately. In any case, you have no choice but to leave. So please, do so sooner. Wait a minute, even if you want to kick us out, it's a problem for us too if you say it out of the blue. You're not a monster to suddenly throw two old people out of their house, are you? Who knows? I might be a monster. Did your dissatisfaction with us finally explode? I got it. Give us some time to prepare to leave. You're just saying that to stay longer, aren't you? I'm tired of your lies. Before we started living together, you said you would help with nursing and housework, but in the end, you used us and did nothing yourself. You even used my sick husband without hesitation. I've had a backache recently. I wanted to help. If you have the energy to gamble all day, even with a backache, I think you could have done something. You're always making excuses and being easy on yourself. I'm really fed up. To be honest, I don't want to deal with you anymore. You don't have to say that much. Anyway, please wait a moment. Please, okay? No extensions. I've been patient until now. What is this? All of our stuff is outside. Didn't I tell you to leave by tomorrow? I said there would be no extensions. Are you serious? Are you planning to throw us out? As I told you, mother-in-law, I'm not as lenient as my husband, because we're strangers after all. But that doesn't mean you have to resort to such drastic measures. That's too much. I'm sure our son would be disappointed in you. No, I don't think so. This is also what my husband wanted. He has already given his consent. How did he give his consent? He's already dead, you know. Before he died, my husband told me. He apologized to me for causing me trouble by allowing you to live with us. He cried and apologized to me many times. And he told me to abandon you after his death. What? There's no way our son would say something like that. He clearly said so. He even left it in writing. He probably saw this coming with you making a fuss. No way. Our son, who was always obedient. Hey, mother-in-law. Did you ever wonder why your son was so obedient? Why he endured all the unreasonable treatment? Our son didn't think it was unreasonable. He was always obedient to his parents. But he said that his parents were toxic. He was aware that he was being exploited by his parents, and he knew that he shouldn't cause trouble for me, his wife. So at first, he tried to refuse to live with you. Huh? But in the end, he accepted to live together. Why do you think that is? I couldn't understand it at all. If I had such troublesome parents, I would dump them in a heartbeat. I may not be able to survive if I abandon them. But I don't care about that. That's because our son is kinder than you. Exactly. No matter how trashy his parents were, he loved them. There probably is only one person in this world who loves you, but that one person is gone. What are you trying to say? There's no one left in this world who loves you. There's no love between you and your father-in-law, is there? You're just two lonely pieces of trash leaning on each other. What did you just say? Who's trash? But you weren't trash from the start, were you? Huh? My husband often told me about his memories of when he was a little kid. In the old days, when my husband got sick, you took care of him all night. You used to go on picnics with him carrying a lunchbox going to the zoo. You took him to various places. Did my son tell you that? But you became trash because of the influence of my father-in-law. My husband agreed to live together because he believed in you. You might have had a change of heart. You might have really proposed to live together for the sake of taking care of him. With that hope, he decided to accept the cohabitation. Hope? But that hope was shattered. You betrayed my husband. What are you talking about? You're just making stuff up. There's a can of sweets among the luggage I've taken out. Please open it. What is this? It belongs to my husband, but I don't need it, so I'll give it to you. So what is it? Inside, there's a gold medal made of origami. Do you remember it? When my husband was sick and couldn't participate in the sports day, he was depressed. You made it for him, didn't you? Huh? The one I made 30 years ago? Did he keep it all this time? My husband cherished his moments with you. He loved you. No matter how many times he was betrayed, no matter how unreasonable it was. I didn't know he felt that way. Even if you regret it, it's too late. Your son is no longer in this world. What else did my son talk about? He told you about his past memories, didn't he? Tell me. Are you suddenly interested in my husband? However, I refuse, because it's none of my business anymore. I apologize for everything that happened so far. So please. It's too late to apologize now. My husband is no longer in this world. Regret and regret until the very end, and this house is mine alone, because I was the only one who reciprocated my husband's love. After that, my father-in-law was screaming in front of the house for a while, but my mother-in-law eventually stopped him. I suppose my story must have struck a chord with her. My mother-in-law, holding the dirty candy can in both hands as if it were precious, took my father-in-law away. Since then, I have lost contact with my in-laws, and I heard through the grapevine that they divorced. And 2 years after my husband's death, when I visited my husband's grave, I saw my mother-in-law. When she noticed me, she bowed deeply and left. She seems to have gotten her act together. My husband may have sacrificed his life to change his mother's mind. I am still living in that house, surrounded by dogs and cats. Although a lot happened in this house, the only memories that come to mind are the happy ones with my husband. I intend to protect this house forever.